What's up guys, my name is Casey and welcome to another miniature rescue. Today we're going to take a look at what it actually takes to rescue a 2,000 point army from eBay. In the realm of miniature rescues, an entire army is kind of the pinnacle of the whole experience. I mean, it's all well and good to save one, but what does it take to find, fix, and rescue a complete 2,000 point Warhammer army? Well, let's start with the most obvious part of the whole problem, actually finding an army to save. Let's head to eBay and I'll show you the easiest way to pick up an army on the cheap. Keep in mind, anything you see here generally falls into the lots of work camp when it comes to refurbished jobs. But that's kind of part of the lesson. Temper expectations and be patient. I'm going to do a regular search for Warhammer Army Lot. You can generally fill in the blank with the game system, but we're going to go with Warhammer for a couple of different reasons. Warhammer is a game system that I personally like to play, and the abundance of models makes it a lot more fun when hunting for treasure. And since we're using the generic term Warhammer and not 40k or fantasy, we get a broad range of anything under the Warhammer banner. Right now, we aren't telling eBay what to actually show us, so there will be quite a lot of multi-listings and bits auctions, and that's okay. This initial pass is to look at what kind of things are ending soonest and if we want to jump on anything right away. Sometimes you can get lucky, but you also have to be willing to spend some money almost immediately. And that's a hard thing to do when you don't know what else is out there. Okay, so let's skip this and start to look into what we can actually see. Sort the search by price and buy it now. These tend to be the most expensive lots, but you're also more likely to get something pretty nice. Now we're in a good range of lots and we can start to pick out things that look pretty interesting. I like to open a bunch of new tabs while going down the list so I can compare them really quickly. Generally, I find between $150 and $200 there are pretty mangled armies that need the most amount of work. It also means the most value for money, so I like to start there. Most auctions below $100 are start collecting boxes or pretty much put together boxes of just squads. Sometimes that can be good, so it's worth a quick look, but if you want to pick up a full army or close to it, you need to be willing to spend at least a little bit more money. Going through these auctions, you can see the kind of variety that's out there. Age of Sigmar armies, 40k armies, 30k armies. The thing that we're really trying to hone in on is something that has paint and is considered a job lot. This indicates that there's work to be done and the person selling it really doesn't want to do that work. It's a pretty perfect opportunity for us. These auctions don't come along very often, or at least the real good ones. So be patient and check as often as you can to see if anything pops up. This is also a good opportunity to set some saved searches with more in-depth parameters that send you push notifications. That way you can jump on something as soon as it pops up. Not too long ago, I was going through this exact search and I came across an Osiarch Bone Reapers army for Warhammer Age of Sigmar for a little over $150. The army has a little over 1,200 points in it, including the battle tome, and 3 standard troop units that are required for the base of any Age of Sigmar army, which is a huge bonus when buying a used army like this. The main bulk is taken care of and I can keep an eye out for the fun stuff to round out the army. First things first. Let's look at the state of these miniatures and figure out what kind of work will need to be done. For the most part, these models look like they're in pretty good shape. The paint is thick, but nothing too terrible that makes me think that these models are unsalvageable. Take a look at the details on the bones. You can imagine that the last owner, due to, I'm guessing, inexperience, decided to paint them using a brush and went straight in with white over pure black primer. We've all been there at one point or another, and it's always a shame when it doesn't turn out the way we think it's going to. They probably got frustrated with the army and decided to put it up for sale because it was just sitting there, reminding them that there was now twice as much work to do in order to salvage the army. It's unfortunate, but a massive gain for us. So in order to rescue the army, things will be pretty straightforward. Remove the thick paint and redo the base coats. There are some other minor issues with a handful of models, including some broken arms, missing shoulder pads, and a missing arm. Overall, nothing a little glue can't take care of. And as far as the missing arm, well, I actually didn't see that until I was pretty much done painting it, so in reality, I don't think it actually matters. The other half of this part of the process is list building. Remember, keep your expectations in check. These lots are probably not tournament-honed top table armies here. In this particular list, there are some base units, some middle-of-the-road bone guys, some heavier flying bone guys, and what seems to be a pretty good mix of units. I know that there are a ton of other units that do fit into this army, but we're trying to work with what we have here. Luckily, I was sent a Nagash not too long ago, and what do you know, he's in this book for this particular army and set at the staggering point cost of 970, which is incredibly high and sounds like too much fun to pass up. So it looks like this 2,000 point army will include 3 units of Mortek Guard, some Morghast Archai, and some Necropolis Stalkers. And Nagash, yeah. Of course, this is just a base list of units. I'll be keeping an eye out on eBay for deals and adding things to this army that I think will be fun to play. I honestly don't care if this army is good, or if it'll win a ton of games. The most important aspect of this is to try out new models and have new painting experiences, and have fun with my friends playing games. That being said, if you do have any suggestions as to the units I should be looking for to make this an unstoppable force, please let me know down in the comments. Now that we have our units selected and a list built, it's time to start the real work. I'm using an ultrasonic cleaner filled with a concentrated degreaser to remove the excess paint from these models. If you don't have an ultrasonic cleaner, then just let the model sit for a week or so in your favorite heavy-duty cleaning solution and let that paint just peel away. During our assessment earlier, it was determined that the major problem was the thickness of the base coat paint. I'm not seeing any details being massively obscured by the primer, so we might get lucky and not have to take the paint all the way down to the gray plastic. I pulled them out after about a 20-minute cycle and brushed them off, revealing a surprising amount of gray plastic. None of the nasty thick paint and only a little bit of primer left on the model. This is probably best case scenario in most cases. We got rid of the unwanted stuff, and as long as we go over the model pretty lightly with new primer, we'll have brand new models ready to paint. The process of stripping does take time, but once you run the models for a few cycles and get that paint off, you are rewarded with practically brand new models that nobody would suspect had been previously painted. Now that the stripping is taken care of, we need to fix anything broken on the models, fill any gaps, and prime them up. Let's take a look at Nagash here. There's a nasty gap running down the side of his cloak, so I'll use my favorite gap filling method, milliput, and close the gap on this model. It's easy enough to mix up a little bit of filler and just lay that onto the crack. Then with some water on my fingers, I'll just smooth it over. Once that's dry, which usually takes about 4 hours, I'm going to sand it down and hopefully make everything nice and flush with the new material. After everything is done, I'll go ahead and prime the army. Before getting to the tough task of painting, I need to take a couple of models out of the lineup and do some test paint schemes. I like to do this because I can lock in my process for the entire build and know that my end results are something I'll be more than likely happy with. My approach to most paint schemes is pretty simple. Pick some basic tones that go well with each other, and then find a color that pops off the model to contrast those other colors. For example, my last army had some dirty whites for the armor, some rust and some verdigris, and then a massive pop of fluorescent pink. Yeah, that really stands out on the table, and I do love it. For this army, I want to fit it into an overall theme of a death army and some of my other existing death stuff that might end up fitting into this army somewhere. We won't be going fluorescent pink. Alright, so let's go to the painting table and start to run through some of colors that might work well for these Bone Reapers. Luckily, these models are relatively easy to paint in a pretty short amount of time, and we can use things like contrast paint for maximum effect and speed. I'll start by laying down a combination of colors into different parts of the model. First, teal on all of the armor panels, followed by a light purple for the accents and cloth. Then I'll swap that for the next model just to see which one I like better. For a third test model, I'll just use some contrast Flesh Tearers red for pretty much everything, in order to achieve our bone color and save a stupid amount of time and work. I'll be hitting everything with a heavy overall coat of brown enamel wash through the airbrush. Now you can brush this on, but it takes longer to begin to set up and dry, and it can be really messy. Once the enamels begin to dry, I'll wipe away the excess with a makeup brush. This will leave the wash in the recesses and tint our white zenithal towards a nice brownish bone color. This is really the huge time saver right here. Now I can start to make some decisions. Do I wait for the enamels to fully dry in order to highlight? Should I even highlight more? Or can I do something else that will give me that boost without adding more paint? First, I'll take each test model to the highest standard that I'd want for these troops. Some highlighting on the bones, edge highlighting on the armor, and just an overall boost in color and brightness to all the important things on the model. The easy way to do this is to add a very small amount of white spirits to my sponge and gently take away the enamels on the face, shoulders, middle of the shield, and the top of the knees. This reveals almost pure white or pure color and gives us a very bright highlight for the least amount of work. Looking at these test models, there are a few things to take away. In order to get the look I really would want out of the teal armor, it would take a really long time per model to get there. So even though I actually like this color combo, it's pretty much out. The purple armor, same issue, and it's not as good as the other one anyways. The red, it's easy, effective, and can be pushed for larger models. We can do more stuff. So phase 2 of testing will be to try out some combinations of red using simple ways to change it. I'll spray the red with a little bit of orange as a highlight before the wash. This might add more interest and be just the thing I need to push it a little further. I'll also spray purple from below as an underspray. That way the contrast red takes that into account, and when the wash is revealed, we get a very nice color in the bone. Subtle color, but still nicer than not having done anything. In the end, I decided to go with red contrast paint, purple ink from below to give some interest, and a few orange highlights using just a brush, so some edge highlighting. For me, this is the plan that gets the best results using the least amount of time. This week has been all about getting this army put back together and getting the plan solidified. The more solid of a plan you have when painting an army, the more likely it is that you're actually going to finish that army in a timely manner. In my case, I'm hoping to finish this army within about 5 hours or so next week. So if you haven't subscribed, well, that's pretty much as good a reason as any. Taking used armies and giving them new life is a pretty thrilling experience in this hobby, and it's not quite the same feeling as buying the boxes new. There is something unique about spending time repairing and helping something become usable again and seeing that transformation. Looking at something and seeing the potential and then following through to actually make that a reality. These models were practically abandoned, just left aside because of a mistake that we've probably all made at one time or another. It's alright to make mistakes, and it does help us learn, but we also have to remember that there are usually ways to fix our mistakes. Sometimes adding more paint is the answer, and sometimes taking it off completely and starting over is. Either way, there is a solution, and all it takes are a few steps to get there. Next week, I will be finishing this army, but in the meantime, here are some of the models I painted for testing. Just look at the transformation these guys went through. Honestly, I can't wait to share the rest. Thank you once again for joining me on another miniature rescue. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. Once again, I'm Casey, and I will see you in the next video.